Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm doing something that I've only done one time before in my 4 or 5 years of making content, and that's playing on Arena. The reason I'm playing on Arena is that Khans of Tarkir is here, and there is a Arena Open, which, if you're not familiar with this structure, you can play into day 2. If you get 7 wins before you get 3 losses in the best of 1, or if you get 4 wins before you get 1 loss in best of 3, you get invited to day 2. And on day 2, you draft. And if you win enough, you can win $1,000 or $2,000. Actual cash sent to your home from the comfort of your computer. The Arena Opens are pretty dope. I actually haven't had Arena on any device for close to 2 years, not since the online Pro Tours at the beginning of COVID, and then I just started recording on Magic Online every day. But Khans of Tarkir, I was in my showing up to team draft 4 or 5 times a week era when Khans of Tarkir came out the first time. This set is generally regarded as one of the best limited sets ever, and I was excited enough about it to download Arena and play in this event. It costs 5,000 gems to enter this. I have 11,000 gems in my account. I'm not going to put any real cash into this, so I have 2 bullets to try to get into day 2 with just the money in my account. If we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. But either way, we're going to build some sealed deck and play some matches. And I am going to do best of 1. I feel like even though best of 3 reduces variance, only getting 1 loss in your run feels kind of shitty to me. And I don't know if I'm gaming hard or just being a coward, but I do think that people will build this set wrong. This is one of the dirtiest sets that there is. Like 4 and 5 color, play all your bombs, games take forever soup is kind of the name of the game here. Draft can be a little different, but this format does lend itself to that pretty well. And anyone who's trying to play like Grizzly Bears and shit, anyone who started playing in Adventures of the Forgotten Realm or newer, is just going to have a terrible build. And I hope to win 1 game against them and move on to the next. I don't know, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. But this is the Khans of Tarkir Arena Open. Let's jump in. For joining, I get this cool little monk avatar. Let's see my packs. They show you the rares first. Narset. 3/2 first strike hexproof. And this is a powerful card. It's hard to remove and does a lot. I would need a lot of spells worth casting. And the 2 rare spells that I open are both X spells, which don't really work with Narset. The Crater's Claws does work if I have Ferocious. That's a creature with power 4 or greater. Savage Knuckleblade's a big O. Tower Shell. I remember this like attacks every other turn. 5/9 Island Walk. When it attacks, exile it. Return to the battlefield, tapped and attacking at the beginning of your next declare attacker step. Yeah, it can attack every other turn. Weird card. Let's see the rest of the pool. It's 2 kill shots in white. I'm looking for removal, bombs, and card advantage off the jump here. Abzan Falconer is really good. Other creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have flying. And Outlast is the Abzan mechanic in this set, which means creatures put +1/+1 counters on themselves. And just putting your big beefy Abzan army into the air is an endgame that is a big part of this format. Watcher of the Roost is cool. Generally, in this format, you don't get blown out by a morph effect for less than 5 mana. But some of the uncommons and rares have other costs or slightly lower costs. And this one, you reveal a card to morph it, and you suddenly have a flyer and 2 life. I have 1 Salt Road Patrol. That's an Outlast creature. Force Away is a tight little tempo spell if you can get Ferocious regularly. And I do have the Knuckleblade. We'll see what else ends up in my Teamer Wedge here. Spell Strike is mostly removal, but if the game goes forever, they can start untapping it. Crippling Chill, a nice tempo spell. I'm looking at spells for my Narset that I know is back here somewhere. Monastery Flock. While this is not like a great card, gumming up the board is part of the dirtle of this format that I talked about, and this morphs for a single blue. You could suddenly just have a giant flying blocker for 1 mana, when generally, like I said, 5 is the number you have to worry about morphs in. Debilitating Injury is a removal spell. Beautiful Return grinds like crazy. Return 2 creatures from your graveyard. This is another one of the surprise morphers. It's just a lifelink creature, flips for 2. And when I said you don't get blown out for less than 5, I mean like there's not a morph effect that just ends the game if you don't play around it for less than 5, but there's a bunch of little tricks like this, like a 0/5 blocker or 1/4 lifelink for less than that. Rotting Mastodon, 2/8. 8 is the huge ass in this format. We might play that if we're black. Oh, this card's very strong. Enters with 2/+1 counters whenever another creature dies, put a +1 counter on it. It's a flyer, it just gets bigger. Dead Drop is excellent. Target player sacks 2 creatures. This has Delve. Sultai Scavenger also can be a cheap flying threat. We have to see what our graveyard setup is, though. Being a graveyard setup, Tormenting Voice fuels the graveyard while selecting your cards, though red is not in the Sultai Wedge, but we'll see what our lands look like. Here's Valley Dasher. This is one of those traps that I was talking about. This card, I mean, you can get these low-to-the-ground aggressive decks in draft, but I think unless your pool is the nuts, registering Valley Dasher is basically just like discarding a card in this sealed deck format. A 2/2 that has to attack each turn. It might get in for 2 or 4, and then a creature's just going to eat it. 2 active reason, that's rough. Bring Low is a solid removal spell. Dragon Grip is a nice combat trick if we could get Ferocious regularly. Triple Canyon Lurkers, yikes. The old Lava Axe morph, buddy. Here's my Crater's Claws. And a Fireball is so good. I imagine this will end up in my deck. I just have to see how many colors I'm going to be in, what the bases are. Country Warden's a good blocker. Archer's Parapet is a good blocker that also wins the game eventually. You might think I'm kidding, but this is the level of dirtle I expect out of this format. Feed the Clan, I'm probably not interested in just gaining a bunch of life. Alpine Grizzly just placed in the file to turn on Ferocious early, but for 2, this is the type of card that like trades with a Valley Dasher or some awful card lower on the curve. Probably not excited about that. Double Teamer Charger. 3/1 are not really stats I'm excited about, but giving Surprise Trample to stuff is pretty exciting. Scout the Borders is card selection that fuels Delve. Thinking about it. Double Become Immense, Meandering Tower Shell, Dragon Scale Boon. Woolly Loxodon is kind of what this format's about. Like, this card is genuinely sick. I am likely to play this if I have a single land in my deck that can make green. Alright, now the moment of truth. Scoured Barrens, Dismal Backwater, Jungle Hollow, Thornwood Falls, Mardu Banner. Your fixing matters a lot, and we're about to see a lot of gold cards because that's how this set works. Mineswipe's kind of a weird one, but I think in best of 1, you do want kind of generic counterspells in your deck to make sure you don't lose to some bomb. And if my deck can cast this card, I'm probably going to play it. Ice Feather Aven is great, just Mana War in the middle of combat. Death Frenzy is a low-end sweeper. It does sweep up morph creatures, which is important. Here's the big nucks we knew about. Bear Companion. 2 creatures, turns on Ferocious. Snowhorn Rider is a 5/5 trample, just ferocious, and has a relevant combat stat. Teamer is looking pretty solid so far. Abzan Banner, Sultai Banner. Here's the Narset in Jeskai. Armament Core is really good in Abzan. Distribute 2/+1/+1 counters among your creatures. And I do have that Abzan Falconer that this can send things into the air. It's 6 power and toughness for 5 mana, just on the base, and then the upside of moving stuff around. Abzan Guide is ferocious and a big old lifelink creature. Abomination of Gudul. Flying is important in this format, and this is card selection, and it's graveyard fueling. And a Freight Weapon Master. This one, and this one are those like 5 mana morphers that can really mess up combat. Like, Abomination jumping into the air and eating a small flyer, this being a 4/4 lifelink, completely flipping the race, and then +3/+0 first strike. Oh, it has first strike. It doesn't grant first strike. I didn't quite remember this card right. But +3/+0 is literally a combat trick, so that's what I'm talking about with that. I'm just going to start throwing my fixing into the deck. One thing that I've never liked about Arena, and seems to still be true, is their limited deck building interface. I would like to just see all of my cards at once. Can we do that? I can see my deck starting to come together. That's a view that we have access to. I have 2, 3, 4, 5 green sources among my mana fixing. Also 5 blue sources. There's only 2 red sources, unfortunately, because it looked like Teamer was going to be my hopeful base color, but this Abzan Falconer is a white card. Don't know why all these planes are in my deck. Arena is just autofilling my mana base. What does being base blue-green and then splashing the other 3 colors look like for me? Master of Pearls flips for a white-white. That's kind of a lot to ask. Feat of Resistance, +1/+1 counter. Those are important Abzan words. All right, now I'm just going to put kind of my good cards in and see what shakes loose. Disdainful Stroke, like Mindswipe, is something that I think is probably main deckable in best of 1. 5-color soup is way too many cards. I have to be more discerning about this. I do think Teamer touching black is probably my best core here. I might end up 3 colors anyway, but I'm not going to be playing white cards that are just kind of generic. The white cards are going to have to be bangers to make it into the deck. Sorting by color now to try to get a better sense of this, because I have a lot of cuts I got to make. Probably going to have to lose a color, or at least drop a splash for one. And once we sort by color, we realize that white is actually only Abzan Falconer and Narset. Narset does have a bunch of hits in the deck, like hitting a dead drop or a creeping chill off of her is pretty dope. Putting a +1 counter on her just is a untouchable combat object. But I think my black is just way better than that. However, 2 of my black cards are Delve spells, and I'm currently not doing a lot to actually fuel Delve. Though with 4 black banners and 3 black dual lands, I might be able to get Abomination into my Teamer deck splashing Narset. Just going to see what a Sans black version looks like. And the fail case of a card like Abomination is you just have a 3/3 or a 2/2 for 3 because it morphs. Looking at this list that I have in progress here, and then looking at Armament Core in my sideboard, Death Frenzy in my sideboard, I wonder if I'm supposed to build out Abzan a little more. Luckily, build is not timed in these events because I'm going to need all of it. Looking now at my Abzan deck that splashes blue for Abomination of Gudul. I don't need all these banners. Like, some of these are cuttable. I'm just leaving them in for my own information. I wouldn't play Mardu banner in this deck. It's 2 of my core colors, but I'm not going to have another red source to actually draw a card at some point with the banner. And if I'm core Abzan, playing Narset becomes not really tenable because she is both blue and red on this double splash. It sucks how far off Teamer and Mardu, or Teamer and Abzan are from each other, because I have some nice uncommons and rares across those spreads. I think if I'm touching blue for Abomination of Gudul, I need this Ice Feather Haven in the deck too. Just a flyer with meaningful board impact words on it. For removal, this deck has Debilitating Injury, Ice Feather Haven, so conditional removal, temporary removal. Dazzling Ramparts can tap a creature, not really removal, but it does affect boards in long games. Dead Drop, conditional removal. Death Frenzy, conditional removal. And Death Frenzy is good with Dead Drop because you sweep up the little ones and then kill the big ones. There are almost no cards that die to Death Frenzy in my deck, which is nice. Oh, I want Alabaster Kirin in this deck. Flying Vigilance on an X3 in this format where you're putting +1 counters on things is appealing. This is Tower Shell actually good. It's a lot of stats on a 5-drop, but it's super wonky, and Island Walk may or may not actually get in. And I don't have my Ferocious Synergies in this build of the deck. My dual lands are actually perfect for Abzan Splash Blue, because every one of them is an Abzan color, and then also blue. Like the Jungle Hollow and Scoured Barrens are just Abzan, and then the Backwater and Thornwood Falls just get me my blue splash. On the house, Jeskai Banner, I'm not going to play Abzan and Sultai Banners, or maybe. I don't think I'm aggressive enough for Master of Pearls. This is a big blowout if it happens, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Dirtle Party. I have a bunch of X4s and walls in my deck. I'm just trying to wall up and then fly over. This does leave my Fireball in the sideboard, which I don't care for. And the removal in the red deck is so much better with the Bring Low, the Fireball. I get the Mind Swipe. Okay, we're rebuilding again. If I stop trying to mess around with my white cards at all, there's no Narset, no Abzan Falconer, none of that, then we end up 4-color, non-white, Teamer Splash Black. Black cards in the deck are Sultai Scavenger, Swarm of Bloodflies, Abomination of Gudul, and Dead Drop. I don't think I need Sultai Scavenger among that group. I've piled these out into Creatures, Tricks, and Removal. I don't know if this deck needs Monastery Flock if I have Sagu Archer, Archer's Parapet, some flyers of my own. Yeah, Defender Flying kind of a stink. I'm pretty heavy on the top end. Maybe Become Immense doesn't belong in this deck. My plan is to get control and fly over and then Fireball you. I currently have 27 cards in this deck, which if I add 13 lands is 17 lands plus 2 banners, and this is technically a deck. I'm down to just the Sultai banners because I don't want a banner that I can't actually draw a card off of, which immediately disqualifies the 2 red ones. And Abzan Banner makes a color that my deck isn't. And Sultai Banner is right in the sweet spot because it hits 2 of my core colors plus my splash color. Kintree Warden is really good at staying alive and making the game take longer. Maybe with Mindswipe I don't need Disdainful Stroke and I'd rather have a low drop creature. Because Mindswipe deals the X even if they pay. So I actually have 2 Fireballs in the deck to end the game with. This seems like the better end game than what that Abzan deck was trying to do. Tormenting Voices card selection that fuels Delve. I still think that's worse than Kintree Warden. Just regenerate against their biggest attacker every turn. Now we just got to add lands. I got 4/4/4 of my core colors. I got 1 slot left. I have to decide if I want a basic swamp in my deck. The situations where you want basic swamp are one where you have not found a Backwater, Hollow, Barrens, or Banner, so that's 5 cards, at the point where you need to immediately dead drop your opponent. Like if I'm holding dead drop and I have to draw an untapped black source to be alive, I don't know if that's a world I want to play towards anyway. I also have 2 banners, which are mana sources. Maybe I play 16, but I mean, I'm doing a lot with the top end of my deck, so I just wanted to say it out loud, even though I'm not actually considering it. I'm just going to add another forest. My colors are actually pretty even, but Kintree Warden is a low drop. Archer's Parapet is a low drop. Okay, I think this is my deck. I was not expecting to spend 40 minutes on deck build here, but this is why this set is so cool. There's a lot to think about. Let's go play some games. The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through Coalesce Apparel. This Magic Player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. Coalesce is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order, only at coalesceapparel.shop. I'm on the draw in round 1, and this hand, with another land, it can morph Abomination, but we're not really casting spells then anyway. I am going to mulligan this. Okay, here we go. Handful of lands, and I'm going to put Dead Drop to the bottom. Okay, this has Big Nux on 3. Air Companion is the plan. All right, this is a good mulligan. Opponent's got those dual lands, but so do I. Just want to make sure this dual land doesn't mess up my Big Nux, but I have green and blue, and then an untapped red. All right, yep, still good. I can also Loxodon on 3 and then Big Nux plus Haste on turn 4. Oh no. Opponent said, I got something for your face. Huh. Interesting. Okay, I'm playing my Mountain, and then I can Knuckles into their Knuckles, or I can play my Morph, then Knuckles plus Haste, then Bear Companion. All right. I'm going to play the Morph. It's not fair that my opponent had the same rare as me. No blocks, obviously. You've got a Morph. I've got a Morph. Everyone's morphing. Sultai Banner, a little late to the party. The banners do come in untapped and you can use them right away. I could banner plus Parapet here, but I'm not going to do that. Nux of my own. Give it haste. And I am going to offer the trade with the Morphs because they're going to have 5 mana first, and that's where big blowouts can happen. Yeah, it really sucks that they were on the play this game because we've basically done the same thing as each other. I killed my Morph. Big Loxodon's gone. And they're knocking up. Okay. Ooh. Trample is not one of the words on Savage Knuckleblade. Forest is happening, and then if I play Sultai Banner, I can play Kintree Warden and regenerate it. Or I could play Archer's Parapet plus Kintree Warden. I don't know if I want to take that much damage next turn. I'm just going to face up this little buddy, let you know what's going on, and then attack with my Knuckles. It's literally the last card I added in deck building. You all saw it happen, and hopefully it does some work here. Though this Morph could be anything. They're at the 5 mana where problems could start arising. If they have some efficient removal spell to bust the Warden and then just crunch for 9 or 10, I could lose this game pretty quick. If I draw an untapped mana source, I can Bear Companion plus Parapet next turn. If not, I'm just going to Bear. I would love it if they just don't attack. That would be the best possible outcome here. They didn't fall for that. Block the Nux. Regenerate. They didn't flip their Morph. They got 6 mana, paying the iron price for a Sultai Scavenger. I think I have to keep attacking. If you're blocking, you're losing in a game like this one. And then I'm going to play Bear plus Parapet. Parapet does not have reach, despite being made of archers. My Fireball, the Crater's Grasp, Crater's Claws, whatever version of Fireball I have opened in this particular sealed deck, is lethal right now because with the Ferocious bonus, it gets +2, and I have 6 additional mana, and they're at 8. Soothsayer. Okay, this is card selection. This is a very good card in the set, by the way. Load your top 4 cards, put one in your hand, the rest in your graveyard. They put 3 actual creatures, all of which would impact the board, into the graveyard. That's scary. That means the card they have is a good one. Hey, that's not super helpful. I can pump my Knuckleblade. They can't. 2-5. Frustrating stats on that. Our big Nux get in there. I can draw a card with my Sultai Banner. Okay, they've offered a double block, which does kill my creature. Now I have a choice. I can buff my Knuckleblade, and that doesn't change anything. So I can just trade Knuckles, and then they have a flyer to my not flyer. I could bounce my Knuckleblade, replay it sheepishly. Then I can't regenerate on my turn. I am not winning the race against this flyer. Yeah, I blew it on this double block. Whoops. Yeah, probably just trade Knuckleblades here. Okay. Not happy with that play. Whoops. And if I draw a card, I can't use Parapet. I'm dead next turn, though. Yeah, draining them for 1 is not what this game's about. I'm going to draw a card. And I'll play this Morph. This is a flying creature that stabilizes next turn. They do have 4 cards in their hand, though. And his Morph just chilling. Oh, there it is. Okay, yep. They got me. Flyers, too good. My attack last turn was not a good one. I still think I'm behind this game. Sucks they had the same rare as me. All right, next round. On the play in round 2, I have 2.5 of my 3.5 colors, and I got stuff to do. I'll keep this. I'll just put the Kintree in. It's generally better as a creature that can regenerate anyway. And if I can push a little bit of damage while we're all just hanging out, that's fine with me. The Abomination was a great draw. If I have a land in my top 2 cards, I have a turn 4, just face up, big flyer. I do think dropping the banner here is better than playing the Morph Loxodon. Just give myself the option for... Oh, this is a 6-drop. Never mind. I need to draw a red source. Whoops. Probably should have morphed that. All these rusty little bleeds. I can't wait to get roasted. Yeah, this is a 6-drop face up. It's 5 to flip it. Uh-oh. If any of your upkeep surveil 2, that's pretty powerful. And it doesn't impact the board, but it does gas up everything they'd want to do in the world. I am holding my Fireball here, though, which can snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. That's kind of what Fireball does in Limited. And they're never going to miss a land drop now, and they're never going to hit a land drop that they don't want to. So sick. Face up Ruthless Ripper. And Heir of the Wilds. Multiple Death Touch creatures all of a sudden. I think adding to my board is better than trying to do something with the Dragon Scale Boon. They surveilled away Stubborn Denial. Okay. Yeah, they're just hitting their land drops and I'm not. Okay, Scavenger, they exiled one card. Okay, I have a land drop, kind of. Next turn. My Kintree Warden can regenerate. It's kind of a good thing to have 2 +1/+1 counters on, but not until it can regenerate also. They once again milled 0 cards. They like all their cards. I hate that. Another morph. I'm gonna let Sultai Scavenger in. I think in the end step, I do want to boon up my regeneration creature, because if they have interaction, kind of rather get it out. Ooh, I can morph. Nope. 6 mana play. All right, never mind. Okay. I can flip the Abomination of Goodul. I can also attack with Kintree Warden, which seems kind of free. Because if they block, I just regenerate it, and it eats whatever they blocked with. And if they want to make me use my mana, Grim Haruspex. Every non-token creature dies, draw a card. Alright, I mean, that's pretty good. But I did just kill a creature for basically free. And I still have something to do with my mana. I don't know if I make that attack if I didn't draw something to do with my mana. Because I do have a powerful 5 mana play in the form of flipping this Abomination. They get me with the Scavenger. Another morph. The shell game continues. Mind Swipe. The 4-color deck getting me here. I am perfectly set up on my splash color, but have been unable to deliver on the main color of the deck. I'm going to try to change that right now by getting in with Abomination. They forced it away. Massive tempo play. They didn't get to draw a card because they don't have Ferocious, but that was big beats. I just put 8 mana into an effect that I didn't get to use at all. Uh-oh, they're attacking with this morph creature. I'm not going to risk my Kintree Warden. I think I'm just going to no-blocks this. Because if I have Ice Feather Aven available next turn, my worries get a lot less. And unfortunately, I've been on the wrong side of it in the 2 games we've played, but what I said in deck building about a single flyer tends to win these games, I mean, here we are. Another non-red source of mana. Does mean I can cast Ghoul next turn, or Abomination of Goodul. It's not Ghoul. And I have Bounce off of Aven plus Regenerate available next turn. I don't have time for this Swarm of Bloodflies. I didn't draw an untapped land, so I can't morph this Abomination. I wonder how Arena handles this face-up Abomination, because Arena shows you cards that you know in hidden zones, but if I morph this, you don't know that that's that card necessarily. Weird. Okay. I think I'm going to go into turtle mode here a little bit. Having the Regenerate plus the Bounce available does a lot for me. They have 18 cards left in their deck. Maybe the Sultai Ascendancy will kill them. Okay, they're getting in with a lot of stuff. They're trying to Haruspex. Haruspex is not optional. They would get in for 3 here if I don't do anything. I'm going to block the 5/3 and regenerate it. And I'm going to morph my Aven and bounce the bird. I still take 3 here. They lose a big 5/3. They draw a card. This Haruspex is gnarly. Can I draw a mountain? They spent 3 mana on the Scavenger, exiling some number of cards from their graveyard, leaving some still in there as well. Another morph. Oh, now I have the Force Away. Interesting. I am not in the spot to leverage it, though. Swarm of Bloodflies could get crazy. And they've drawn so many cards, and they've been selecting all their draws since turn 3. And Haruspex is, what, +2, +3 cards. I have low confidence in this Abomination of Goodul just still being in play and relevant come combat. I think I want to invest in the Swarm. That lets me chump block with some stuff, get some trades, and then I end up with the biggest creature, and maybe I get Ferocious, and then just kind of planning for a future that may or may not exist. A milled Embodiment of Spring. Bellstrike taps my Aven. That means they get to attack through my Swarm of Bloodflies with the Scavenger, and I'm at 2 if I don't block. Set Adrift. Oof, that means I'm drawing Swarm of Bloodflies next turn. That's even worse. And they morphed. Oh, an unblockable creature. Perfect. Yep. I'm getting my ass kicked on this first run into Khans of Tarkir Limited since whenever that came out. Let's try to rally 7 wins in a row from here. I'm on the play in round 3. I am going to keep this hand. I also, between games, went in and checked my deck. And remember that forest I added at the end of deck building? That should have been a mountain for sure. Because I have dual lands that make green. My Soul-type banners make green. But I only had the 4 mountains in the whole deck that make red. So I actually just threw it pretty hard in deck building. And went back and fixed it, because that's the thing you could do here. Now I'm holding a mountain and I don't have green mana. But hopefully that doesn't hit me too hard. Like, I have a lot more green sources in this game than I had red sources in last game to draw to. Speaking of which, and I think I would rather have my mana perfectly set up than have a morph creature that I can't morph next turn anyway in play. Opponent's got that Mardu mana over there with crazy alternate frame M21 lands. I haven't reset my preferred basics in Arena yet. I haven't gone in and done that. I'm pretty sure I have the unsanctioned lands on Arena. I think I vaguely remember having access to those last time I played this client. Wow, they passed turn 3 with nothing. That's suspicious in the morph format. Okay, they are Mardu Charming. The target player reveals their hand, choose a non-creature non-land. So they're probably going to take this Mind Swipe that I can't currently swipe their charm with. My plan was to just leave up white. Mind Swipe this turn. If they didn't do anything and I get a hard counter, that busts their curve. That's pretty cool. But that's got to be the card you take here. You know, I don't know their hand. Maybe they know something I don't. They can't take the Aven because it's a creature. Okay, here we go. They're operating on perfect information. They know my tricks. And in this spot, Arena could deduce what this morph is because they saw my whole hand and there's only one morph card in it. I don't know if I like how that's being handled. I'm going to bounce this morph and start attacking. You do get to see what things are when morphed creatures leave play or at the end of the game. They have to be revealed. So this Ponyback Brigade can be cast next turn. This is one of the marquee commons of the set. This is just a ton of stats in one creature. And it does trigger on ETB. Jesus Christ. We have Zergo Helm Smasher in the deck. Okay, I just took 7. Alrighty. Well, the Creator's Clause is great. I'm going to have to tempo them out here. If I Creeping Chill on their turn, they lose 2 attacks with Zergo. If I do it now, I could draw a card and maybe cast a spell, but I'd rather freeze this 7 power thing twice. Alright, chill out. Please. Oh my god. We're so dead. Alright, just dying in 3 hits to a Mythic Rare wasn't on my bingo card for today. But it seems likely to happen. I mean, I could just Creator's Clause it on my turn. It will go away. It's only indestructible on their turn, but now they have this Ponyback Brigade, which Arena did tell me this is the case. Or maybe not. Maybe it just fades away, but it certainly looks like, I don't know, confusing. What is the tempo line here? So can I just burn them out is my question. If I attack for 4, then chump block Zergo, they're at 12, and I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That doesn't seem like the way to win the game, but neither does using my burn spell on this creature. Okay, I'm attacking, getting my 4/4 in the mix, and I can actually kill Zergo now because I have Ferocious. Yeah, that's the one. All right, X is going to be 1. Okay, Zergo's dead. I'm bigger than Ponyback Brigade. They only have 5 cards in their hand, don't worry. Aerostorm. Okay, that's dead. Now I'm doing nothing versus Ponyback Brigade. Okay, can I cast this card? I should be able to. I don't really want to do this on one creature, but I suspect that one creature is actually 4 creatures and that this is not getting better. Okay, the Ponyback Brigade is dead, but they have 5 cards in hand to my 0, 12 life to my 6. My Fireball's already used. Both my Fireballs are gone. I think this is going to be an 0-3 first bullet, and then we go into drag again. Yeah, just 4-3. Statty daddy here. Sucks to suck me. I'll draw a card immediately. Alright, basically dead here. Yeah, getting 15 and 2 for 1 off of, alright, cool, we're dead. Getting 15 and then also blown out by a protection spell off of a mythic rare, and then I also had to spend another thing, so I got like 3 for 1 and took 15 damage. That's not how I wanted to play that game. Okay, literal 0-3, and no match was particularly close either. Maybe I need to get lower in my next build, at least make sure I don't get cheesed out, but I did make the build that had the most removal that I was capable of. However, I did misbuild the mana base for sure. There should have been more red than there was green, and that probably cost me one of those games. And there were a couple other like random bleeds, like thinking Abomination of Gudul was a 5-drop, when that's actually its morph cost, but it costs 6 to do it face up. Just, you know, tighten up, and I'll fire another bullet here, and maybe we day 2, maybe the video ends. Let's go find out. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. It's time for the second bullet. I'm going to do best of 3 this time. You all heard my live action stream of consciousness about why I played best of 1 the first time. It's like, I'm going to cheese these nerds who don't know how to build, but then I just lost to a bunch of rares and mythic rares that ran me over. And best 2 out of 3 gives you a chance to sideboard, or at least even out the draws where they don't have those on curve every time. So I am going to lean into hoping that I am a stronger player and understand sideboarding better than the average arena grinder, and do best of 3 this time. Let's open these packs. What do we got? Show me a Dune Blast. Okay. Pearl-like Ancient is a big old mythic idiot. Hard to kill that one. Rakshasa Death Dealer, +2/+2 and regenerate. That's a solid animal. Throne of Tarkir, never a card I've put in a deck, but other creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn. And Trample, you just overrun every turn. For 6 mana and taking a creature out of combat, we'll see about that. 2 Rakshasa Death Dealers, and Sultai Ascendancy. Kind of just looking at the rares, we have a pretty solid Sultai start here. And this Mindswipe again. We'll see. Alright, deck. What do you got for me? Got a Seeker of the Way this time. That's a solid one. Suspension Field. That's a mostly real removal spell. Double Alabaster Kieran. And Feat of Resistance is a good trick in the format. Smite the Monstrous, removal spell. Siegecraft. This might seem silly if you've never played Khans Limited before, but these stats are bonkers, and removal isn't great in this format. Siegecraft actually is like playable. Embodiment of Spring. This is kind of a build your own rampant growth, and I've got 2 of them. I could make something happen here. Cancel, just a hard counter. Nice. Blinding Spray is a combat trick. Stinging Bell Strike, soft removal. Set Adrift, pretty solid actually. Unblockable creature, okay. Glacial Stalker, it's not sexy, but it's got a lot of stats, and it's a morph creature. 2 Treasure Cruises, hello. Disowned Ancestor, secretly nutso, by the way. Ruthless Ripper, love that. Debilitating Injury. Cure Bloodsucker. The creature you control toughness 4 or greater dies. Each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life, and then you can sack a creature to make this bigger. Bitter Revelation fuels Delve and gets card selection. Dutiful Return. Got some graveyard stuff going on here. My Outlast, or my creatures with +1 counters have Death Touch. CDC's Pet. The Big Astodon. 3 copies of Throttle. Okay. That's a removal spell. Aerostorm's also a removal spell. Bring Low. 2 copies of Archer's Parapet to slow the game down. Dragon Scale Boon, Hooties, Woolly Loxodon. My Sultai looks really good. I hope the mana and gold cards continue to support that. Cliffs, Winterflame. Ice Feather Aven, Great and Saltai, Sandstep Citadel, and Nomad Outpost. Outpost. Oh, 2 copies of Nomad Outpost. Beats. That's only one of the core colors I was thinking about playing, but I have 2 copies of that. We'll take a look at it. Thornwood Falls is great. Saltai Charm in here. Destroy target monocolor creature. Yeah, 3 copies of Lens of Clarity. This card is unplayable, and I'm gifted with trips of it. Okay. This pool does look more coherent than my first one. All right, let's just build this Saltai deck and see what it looks like at the end of the road. Sandstep Citadel is a dual land with white on it for funsies. See if I end up using that. If I don't mess around with any splashing, I just put all the cards in the deck, and then we will ruin from here. Embodiment of Spring does allow me to get a little frisky. I don't think these white cards are worth splashing for. I am best 2 out of 3 this time, so if I see like a Smite the Monstrous, or if I see a monster that I need to smite, or my opponent's going super low with suspension field targets, I can sideboard. Now, I'm not going to splash any of these red cards. Become Immense, I don't think is where I want to be, especially if I have 2 Treasure Cruise and a Hooting Mandrill in my deck. I might not play both Treasure Cruise. We'll see. Embodiment of Spring does put himself in your graveyard, though. And the Nomad Outposts, I can treat these like swamps that tap for red. Like, I could play the Mind Swipe. And Bloodfell Caves, that's a 3rd swamp that taps for red. I don't think I'm playing Mardu Banner. I have 2 Snowhorn Riders. If I support red, my card quality goes up, but once again, we're in this world where I had 2 Bloodfell Caves too. Wow. All right. Yeah, basically if I just cut 4 swamps for those 4 lands, I get a red splash almost for free. I mean, my lands are tapped. Nothing's free, but I get some big O's at the top of the curve. I don't think I can play 2 Treasure Cruise and a Hootie and a Set Adrift. That's just a lot of that. Saltai Ascendancy helps, though. We start looking for the worst cards in the deck and see if we can cut 11 of them here. I don't know that I need Death Touch on my creatures here. The big Astodon. I have a lot of big asses in my deck. Glacial Stalker. And it's fine on stats, but with these Snowhorn Riders, I have stats. Maybe Hooties isn't good. Because like I said, I have stats, and I have 2 really good Delve spells. I have so much Delve, actually, that I have a Treasure Cruise in the sideboard. Maybe I don't need Dragon Scale Boon. And my creatures are just big enough on their own. I don't need to do stuff like that. Do I need Bitter Revelation in a deck with Saltai Ascendancy? Do I need Saltai Ascendancy in a deck with Bitter Revelation? What's the real? Which one's the chicken? Which one's the egg here? How often am I triggering this Kiru Bloodsucker? Disowned Ancestor, Archer's Parapet, if I pump a Death Dealer, Sidisi's Pet, Glacial Stalker, Rider, Ancient, Loxodon. I mean, most of my creatures do fit the trigger conditions of this. I'm not doing any threatened stuff, the active treasons that are in this format. So the sacrifice on the Kiru Bloodsucker is pretty medium. I'm not going to have a bunch of stuff laying around. This is mostly a Mardu mechanic. But this is a lesson I learned from Paul Rietzel, Hall of Famer, who I tested with for a Pro Tour with once. He said that understanding what the cards are in the format for, like what decks they're for, is important. Because any deck with black could play Kiru Bloodsucker. But if we look at whenever a creature with toughness 4 or greater dies, something happens. I mean, the power and toughness 4/4 thing is... The power 4 or greater is a Teamer thing. The toughness 4 or greater is a Saltai thing. But then the sacrifice a creature, put a +1 counter on this is a Mardu thing. And I think that's the more important one. And I'm not close to Mardu. So I actually think I'm not playing this card. It just understanding what deck that card is for and that it's not mine. And I don't think I turn my 4 swamps into tapped swamps just for Snowhorn Rider. Winterflame and Mindswipe are worth considering here. So if I do that, I have the Swiftwater Cliffs that I could replace an island with and get another red source. And is Dragon Throne of Tarkir a bomb? Or is it a brick? I suspect that spending 9 mana to get my first overrun is not a good deal in most matchups. And if I end up in a grindy, like Sultai versus Sultai or Sultai versus Abzan, I can board it in. That's another plus to that. Plus to best of 3. Okay, I'm not playing that card in the main. If I'm playing the Mind Swipe, I don't think I need the cancel. 3 is a lot of throttles. Can you ever have too many throttles? Or too many removal spells? I feel like I don't want Bitter Revelation and Sultai Ascendancy in my deck. Dutiful Return. I don't think I need Dutiful Return in a deck with all these delve things, including Treasure Cruise. That's just sort of converting your graveyard into cards later, which my deck already does. Currently, all 5 of my red sources are non-basic lands, which means that Embodiment of Spring doesn't actually enable a splash in my deck. It still ramps, which is good. And it's in my core colors. Alright, I'll leave that alone for now. Maybe Stinging Bellstrike is medium, because I am a pretty slow deck, and I have the Parapet's Debilitating Injury and Rakshasa Death Dealers to stabilize the early board, plus Disowned Ancestor, Embodiment of Spring, and Ruthless Ripper. I have a bunch of 1-drops that can trade above their mana value, or they just have big butts. Alright, I can board in Bellstrike if I really need it. I do like Sidisi's Pet. Lifelink is cool. That card's much better if you can pump it permanently, put some +1 counters on it, which I cut my Dragon Scale Boon. I think I am going to shave one of these Embodiment of Springs. I might still cut the other one. Also, I'm pretty sure Arena's out of its mind with these suggested basic lands. I have not put a basic land in my deck yet. This is just Arena suggesting stuff. Okay, 3 might be too many throttles. That's just a lot of that effect, and it is solid, and being an instant in this format is unusual. But it does cost 5 and doesn't necessarily kill everything. And I am doing other stuff around the curve. Maybe Glacial Stalker just gets the chop now that I have red in my deck for Snowhorn Rider. It morphs for the same total mana, it casts for the same total mana, and it's bigger and has an additional word on it. Obviously, it costs a color to do that, but I'm building my deck to have access to colors. I'm honestly not sure about Sultai Ascendancy versus the Bitter Revelation. They both function in terms of fueling Delve while giving me card quality. Bitter Revelation is card advantage, though. It is actually a divination on top of everything else, where Sultai Ascendancy just sort of guarantees that I never flood or screw if it's in play. Also 3 mana, then it just pumps for the rest of the game versus 4 mana once. Finding somewhere to spend 4 mana on that. Okay, I'm going to try, though, if I'm in a spot where I have a bunch of mana and need to do something, Sultai Ascendancy doesn't help, where Bitter Revelation is great. I am going to make this switch. Like in a mid-game, if I have 7 or 8 mana and I draw one of these 2 cards, I'd rather it be Bitter Revelation. And now I have to figure out what's going on with the mana. There's 6 black sources in the deck right now, 6 green sources, 7 blue sources. I think one of the islands becomes a swamp, because Rakshasa Death Dealer is important to have early. Like, this card is much better on turn 2 than it is on turn 3 or 4, if I have tap lands or need to navigate what's going on with my mana. Do I play a single mountain so Embodiment of the Spring can get it if it needs to, versus just having access to the 5 dual lands that do that? I almost never just want to draw an untapped mountain, though. I have almost as many natural red sources as I do all my core colors, and they're all just built into dual lands that otherwise cast my normal spells. I think I like that configuration. I can bring in Cancel if my opponent has multiple bombs. I can bring in Bellstrike if they're low to the ground. Glacial Stalker can be more stats if I need that. There's a second Treasure Cruise if we're getting grindy. Mastodon and Throttle can come in if I need to slow things down. And I think I do want the unblockable creature over the 2/8 body in this slot. Mystic is a morph creature on 3, which always is worth something. And then, as we saw in the previous run, unblockable creatures just get the game won. I think this is how I'm gonna do it. Let's go play some games. Hopefully 4 of them. If you're looking to run a CEDH or 1v1 tournament
Eminence Gaming has your back with Command Tower. With Command Tower's intuitive tournament manager dashboard, you can handle decklist submission and player management with just a few clicks. Players just need to scan the event's QR code for access to the full tournament bracket, including seamless pairings and real-time standing updates. Take the guesswork out of tournament organizing. Try Command Tower for your next event.
I'm on the draw here. I have a perfect spread of everything. I am going to keep my 7. Opponent's got a Mardu Hateblade. Okay. I will try to deal some death to that. My cat. Let's see how hard they can curve out here. Because the raid deck is really powerful, but it's more of a draft archetype because it's hard to get enough of the pieces in sealed. This is a bomb if you've never played this format before. Just equipping to any morph for half of what it's supposed to cost. Messed up. Or 1/3 of what it's supposed to cost. All your morphs are just 4/4s. Okay, I can kill their creature before it becomes a 3/3. Though Death Dealer will be both bigger than that and can regenerate versus the Death Touch. I have to play a forest though. This is a swamp. Okay. Yeah, if they spend their turn equipping this to Hateblade, the only reason I would kill Hateblade here is if I'm worried about it picking up Ghostfire Blade, and I think I'm not worried about it picking up Ghostfire Blade at this stage of the game. Yeah, they're just offering the Death Touch trade here. There's a morph. Oh, nice. Now I can kill their morph before it gets any bigger, and play Disowned Ancestor. What was that? Sage Eye Harrier. Okay. That would have been an enormous flyer if I didn't deal with it. Because you can equip the Ghostfire Blade while it's colorless, and then morph it. And then it's not colorless anymore, but it's still holding the thing. They've got a 3/3. It can get Death Touch, so I'm not going to block. The Woolly Bully. If I hold up green, black, I can buff Death Dealer and block, and regenerate, and then I beat their Death Touch plays. I think that's worse than just adding to the board, though. Morph creature. I should have attacked first. Just threaten the pump. Arena just makes it so easy to throw spells on the stack. And I can block this Hateblade with Disowned Ancestor if I want to at any point. I just currently am not worried about it. +1/+0, draw a card. Okay. I'm extra glad I didn't block it that turn. And then sometimes you just draw a removal spell. Okay, I'm going to attack for 4 with my creatures. Throttle is an instant, which means I can block, make them commit to Death Touch, and then throttle it. The perfect flavor. Flying First Strike Haste on this bat. Flying First Strike. First Strike's kind of annoying. And they can move their blade over onto the flyer. But I did commit to throttling this thing, making them spend a mana on it this turn. Okay, I have options here. I think I just morph Big Rhino, or Big Elephant, put you to dead on board. They have a 3/4 flyer that is not free to ignore. Both of my creatures beat it in combat, though. They have their own Disowned Ancestor. My Death Touch beats that, and my Size also beats that. Or no, I don't have Death Touch. I have Pumping and Regenerating. Never mind. I can pump twice. I can make a 6/6. It's pretty big. No limits on this one. If you got the mana, it's go time. Okay, they did not attack, which means they're running scared. I'm going to attack with my creatures. If they got a trick, they got a trick. If they don't, I'll just pump my homie and beat their cards. Alright, they didn't have any additional tricks. I can add to the board. I think I'm just going to end the turn, leaving up regeneration when I have this lethal threat. Yeah, I don't want to play into a Wrath here. And there are a couple in the format. There's End Hostilities and Dune Blast. Okay, we saw some Ghostfire Blade action. We saw some flyers. We saw some aggression. I actually do want the throttle in. The Stinging Bell Strike might actually be good here too. Do I have any incidental shatters? Like, I'm not going to bring in literal shatter. I have Sultai Charm. That destroys target artifact or enchantment. That's good. Okay. What are my cuts? Probably something from the top end. Pearl-like Ancient is huge. And it's a combat trick. It is a 7-drop, though. I like everything that's lower on the curve. I like everything that answers a flyer, because we saw those aspects of the deck out of them. I didn't see anything I'd need to mind swipe. And it is still a fireball, but a conditional one. Calling a fireball is not fair. It can go face for a lot of damage, but the joy of a fireball is that it can kill a X2 early in the game or kill your opponent once you have 11 mana. And Minesweep does not do that. Mystic of the Hidden Way might not actually be good or necessary in this matchup because they're on the aggressive side, and I feel like I'm going to kill their creatures and outstat them, or I'm not, and I don't think their deck is going to grind me into this hold position where an unblockable creature breaks it open. Okay, I'm going to try this. 2 red cards, no red mana. I deserve this. Wait, didn't I board this out? Did I time out on sideboarding? I didn't think this was in my deck anymore. Whoops. Okay. I will be mulling this hand, though, for sure. Okay, this is basically the same problem. My sideboard selections definitely did not get submitted. I must have been like a second or two behind clicking OK on submission. I wasn't even thinking about the time because I'm not used to this UI. I am sure there was like a rope ticking away somewhere on the screen that I just didn't see. I can keep this hand bottom the Winter Flame. Yeah, I'll do that. I drew another black card that I can't currently cast. Another one. Alright, deck, need a land here. Shit. Sideboard submission didn't go, missing land drops. Everything's going to shit. This is why we play 3. Bellowing Saddlebrute. Shit. Well, that is an enormous creature. Embodiment of Spring showed up a turn behind where I would have liked it to. Ghostfire Blade. Alright, they have a 6-power creature right away. At some point, I'll be able to set this adrift. Like, we're not dead yet. If I draw a Swamp right now, we're actually doing great. Naturally, I didn't. No attacks. End turn. I'm going to discard. I think it's the Bitter Revelation. Like, I can't cast that spell, and I lose 2 life when it resolves, and it's a 4-drop when I'm just getting buried on board. Okay, block. And then do the thing. Get a Swamp. That creature does not trample, luckily. And I can put a Death Toucher in front of it next turn. There's that Winter Flame that I shuffled away. Immediately got it back. Okay, block the big one. Reveal a black card in my hand, the Disowned Ancestor. They lose 2 life, and then I Death Touch their creature. They have any trick or removal? Yeah, we're at the point where they could throttle my 3-drop profitably. And I drew another red card. I can play Disowned Ancestor. That blocks. Maybe I was supposed to set Adrift here. I don't want to lose a creature for nothing. I'm just so far behind, I have to take some risks anyway. Just casting 5/3s. All right, yeah, okay. Okay, that was both not the deck I wanted to submit. Yeah, okay, there is a rope up here that I just was not paying attention to at all in the previous one. Let's see if I can remember my sideboard plan faster this time. Yeah, Mineswipe and that other thing out for the Throttle and the Stinging Bell Strike. Done. On the play, okay, this hand has mana, does stuff. I'm going to play the Thornwood Falls. I'm in no rush to activate this Embodiment of Spring, though I am holding a red card where this is exactly the type of situation where having a mountain in my deck would matter. Jeskai Student, okay. That means they can't outlast their ancestor. And I'm just drawing my colors anyway, that's good news. I could just play the Woolly Bully or the Rider face down. And then I can play Parapet. Or no, I'm missing double green, so I can't play Parapet and activate Embodiment in the same turn anyway. I will have 5 mana. Okay, I'm gonna leave up Embodiment. This block is free. And they are outlasting. Okay. I would like to activate this ability. I believe I want a forest for my trouble. I already have a swamp. I have double blue. All right, forest. And now I can do what I was setting up, which is double spell on this turn. And we got the giant 0/5 that will start dealing damage. The first counter on a Disowned Ancestor that makes it a real thing in combat is so good, and then the second one is just nutso. I drew a Bloodfell Caves. I cannot Treasure Cruise. I'm 2 mana short of that. I'm going to play another Morph creature, and I could start parapeting them. They're continuing to outlast. I do have Set Adrift and Aven in my deck that can reset all that work. Because they put 7 mana into it. Both of these can attack and get a huge blowout in combat. They're both hard to block. Okay, they chose this one. 6/7. Kill shot, disappointing. Okay. Alright, that was going to happen no matter what. Luckily, they're largely interchangeable. They're both just big O's under there. I can Treasure Cruise next turn if I think it's time to do that. Outlasting. 4/8. Enormous. I think they have another kill shot. I can just throttle this Jeskai student. I don't think I want to do that, though. I'm going to attack and see if they have another kill shot. If they don't block, I'll just play Death Dealer, I think. Yeah, no blocks. Take your damage. Death Dealer, and I can activate it. I can't throttle. I could cruise here. I think I like having another creature in play, though. One with real stats, and it can block this 4/8 with the regeneration. Block. Regenerate. And I assume they have a trick here, but still going to do the obvious thing and get the spell out of their hand, whatever it is. Okay, they just didn't. I like that, too. I will attack with these 2 creatures. I think I'm actually just going to pass on damage. Because if they play a spell to affect the Death Dealer, then I can flip the Rider. Okay, now I have to do this. Murderous Cut. Okay. They did end up spending 2 spells on that. And I found my 7th land, so Pearl-like Ancient can show up and just eat in combat in the future. Treasure Cruise is a 5-drop right now. Alabaster Kirin. Alright, glad I still have this throttle in my hand. And they can push 1 damage here by attacking with both their things. And they decided not to attack at all instead. I'll take it. So if I play Forest and then throttle the Kirin, now they don't have a flyer, they're not pushing damage, I have a bunch of stats. Next turn I can Treasure Cruise for a small amount of mana or just hold up the Ancient. Okay, they decided to Outlast. Just can't get through my thick booties and regeneration bubbles. Delve and Death Touch. Shambling Attendance. Okay. Death Touch is a relevant stat, or relevant text. Drain you for 1. The inevitability. Tick, tick, tick. Ticks away. I have 9 mana now, which means I can Ancient plus regenerate. I'm just going to pass. I'm going to hold this Cruise until it's the last card in my hand. And even if they have like a Mind Rot effect of some kind, I'm not even sure. I don't remember which ones are in the format. But if they have a Mind Rot of some kind, I can play Pearl-like Ancient, bounce a bunch of lands, and then keep my Treasure Cruise and discard the lands. A Pearl-like Ancient, jump in, go get them. I mean, 5/9 is so big that I'm actually not beating this in combat, even if I double block, but I can bounce off it pretty safely. Block, block, leave up a regeneration, and I can bounce this if anything were to happen to it. Regenerate you, and exiled it in response. Okay, Utter End. Powerful removal spell. And I'll go to my turn. There's the Stinging Bell Strike, but this is the flip side of that card where they just have zillions of mana now, and this may or may not actually do anything. Okay, let me figure out how to resolve a Delve spell on Magic Online. Or on Arena. 1, 2, 3. I have lots of green around. Black, black, blue. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Submit 4. Cruise your daddy. Ooh, Winter Flame, hello. Tap target creature and deal 2 to a creature. I will choose both, actually. 2, tap. Tap the Jeskai student, 2 to the morph. Wow, it just died. That's lucky. I can play Nomad Outpost here and attack for 8 from all this prowess. And play another Death Dealer. I mean, Bellstrike, they can just untap their thing, so this doesn't even do anything. They have so much mana. Yeah, I think I want Death Dealer. And maybe I can get a big push with the Bellstrike next turn. It's a prowess trigger, and it removes a blocker. This is 8. I'm at 22. I'm just not going to block. I think that's the first damage they dealt to me this game. Take up arms, make 3 dinguses. Okay, that's a lot of dinguses. Set Adrift. Okay, we've been waiting for this one all day. I'm just going to pay the full price on this and reset this disowned ancestor. Get you out of here. The Pearl Lake Ancient might as well eat something. And now we're at the spot where Archer's Parapet is a real clock because they're at 5. They're not pushing damage. They just drew Disowned Ancestor. I have the mana to regenerate and drain every turn. The Ancestor's back and drain you for 1. Ooh, the Ripper. Okay. If I draw a black spell, this will, or a black card, this is an extra 2 damage. They do have a Death Touch creature, and I'm just going to pass. They're outlasting their Ancestor, working that way back up to 5-8, or 5-9 where it was recently. Or 3. When I draw a black card, they die. Okay. Well, I can kill them at will here, but I don't want to get blown out by a life gain spell or something. I know that I can kill them at instant speed, and if I just am patient here, I don't think I can actually lose this game. If they show me what this card is, like, I'm not trying to slow roll them, I'm just trying to make sure I don't lose my spicy trick to a... I was going to say Feed the Clan, but they're just Orzhov over there. All right, now I have 2 throttles in my hand. Yeah, this might seem annoying or petty, but knowing that you have the win on board, if you don't mess it up, just don't mess it up. Like, if they don't do something relevant very quickly. Okay. Well, they're tapped out now. I'm going to just get them with this and then get them again on my upkeep, or on my turn. Yeah, cool. They don't even need to know about the... I mean, it's revealed at the end of the game, but okay. That was a well-fought battle. I'm glad that was best of 3. On to the next round.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. You can also find Jeremy co-hosting episodes 106 and 109 of the Tech Talk series with Keith Shaw on the Tech Talk YouTube channel. Head over to Tech Talk and don't forget to subscribe to 7 Factor's YouTube channel for every episode of Dev Better.
I'm on the play for round number 2. I'm going to keep this hand. It has a turn to Rakshasa Death Dealer. It does not have blue mana in it, but we'll figure that out eventually. I got a bunch of morphs I can drop into play. Attack just for 2, and actually I'm going to play the Sidisi's Pet, because that one I can morph or lower. Like, these 2 can't flip for a while anyway. Alright, they had to play Mardu Horde Chief just as a 2-3 creature in play. They can't really block here. And I'd be stoked if they did, but not really a good play. And unfortunately I did miss my land drop, but I do have a lot to do on 3 mana. And I can Bitter Revelation once I find the next land. I'm not blocking. They might have a trick there. They might be okay with a double trade. Uh-oh, that's really fucking good. Yeah, they would have wrathed me if I blocked. Yeah, knowing that the deck can turn on, might be incentivized to attack to turn on raid. It's kind of annoying. I think I want to play the elephant face down this turn, because if I draw a land, I can flip Sidisi's Pet and play... Oh, Jesus. All right, the Signpost uncommon. When this attack, target creature can't block. I can double block now and get something off the board. I think Sidisi's Pet is actually my most important morph, though it's not going to be able to block in the near future anyway. All right, I will trade off with the Heart Piercer here. Continue whiffing on the land. Guess I'll play my wall and try to cling to life for a little while. If the wall is up, I think they're likely to target that one with the can't block, and then I can maybe get some lifelink points in somewhere. And now they could have combat tricks. If I take 7, I go to 9. That's not very much. All right, I'm not going to block. They get to raid anyway, and this Horde Chief is the creature I can get lifelink off of. Oh god, Highspire Mantis. Flying Trample, look out. They're targeting the Parapet for can't block again. I'm going to block the Horde Chief with the Sidisi's Pet. That's lifelink, so I would end up at 3 after this combat. I will double block and at least remove something here. And if they put the Sidisi's Pet first, sacrifices a creature with the greatest power and it deals 2 damage. So this just kills me, right? Yeah, so if I sack the Loxodon, I go to 7, I gain life up to 8, and that's exactly what I'm taking. Okay. Well, got Mardude. Well, mostly missed my land drops, but I also got Marduk. That is the deck that one of the archetypes you're looking for in draft that usually doesn't come together in sealed quite so well. Stinging Bellstrike, and once again, I'm just trying to slow the game down. I don't want Mind Swipe. I do want Rotting Mastodon. I think I do want the Throttle as well. Highland Game does trade with early drops and gain life. I don't think their deck is so good that I need Highland Games in my deck, because this card sucks pretty bad if you draw it on like turn 4. I think I'm going to drop the Bitter Revelation as well, because I have to make room in cutting a 4-drop for a 5-drop, but I'm cutting a 4-drop that loses me life and doesn't impact the board for 2 5-drops that do impact the board. And that last game, I mean, it really was just, I did not draw land after my opening hand. But otherwise, like, I had the Throttle for their Rhino and stuff. Okay, this is once again a 2-lander. It does have the Archer's Parapet early. It's missing blue for Sultai Charm. And I play 17 lands. Come on, give me a break. Here we go. I'm keeping. They have the Disowned Ancestor. There we go. Getting my mana under me is more important than playing this Archer's Parapet right now. Their 1-drop can attack anyway. And it literally can attack if they're trying to enable war or raid. That is a thing that this card can do in this shell. Okay, double spell or morph. Like, I could just play Death Touch plus Parapet here. I think the morph creature is fine to gain some life. Having a Death Touch creature around, because they're going to sink a bunch of effort into this Disowned Ancestor. Get to attack for 2 here, and then I would like to play. Do I want this other morph? I mean, Ice Feather Aven. I think I'd rather play the Rider. Just thinking if they do attack and then have the Piercer. Right, Highspire Mantis. That card is powerful and annoying. And it also dodges Sultai Charm, destroy target monocolored creature. They had my number on that one. Do I think they'll block if I attack with Ruthless Ripper? And I'm fine getting that trade. It's probably better on defense, though. I'll just keep adding morphs to the board. Yeah, the 3/3 definitely gets to rumble here. Takes me back to my starting life total, thanks to my lands. All right, deck. It's for real time to give me this land and unlock the throttles. No such luck. I could Parapet plus Death Dealer and just add out to the board here. I could bounce the Highspire Mantis. I can kill Kieran with Sultai Charm. I think I'm going to go Parapet plus Death Dealer. Just take 5 damage this turn and try to set up a spot where I start flipping stuff up and messing with them. Morph creature and a Horde Chief that does make the 1/1. 1/1's not a big deal on this board at the current moment. Embodiment of Spring, like, I'm not going to complain about that. It does mean I have to take flying damage for another turn. Or that's not true. I can charm the Kieran now. Destroy target monocolored creature. Yeah, I'm just going to blow up the Kieran. Once I get stable against this Mantis, their board is actually a lot worse than mine. I just need to do it at a high enough life total that I don't lose. All right, there's Heart Piercer. Who are they going to pick? Probably the Death Dealer would be my guess. Yeah, okay. That thing's gone. Disowned Ancestor. I could put this into play. Then I can't bounce their creature. I can't bounce their creature if I'm going to ramp anyway. Alright, yeah. I'm committed to taking another 3 from this Mantis. But I'm about done taking damage from that thing. I can spring my 5th land drop into play. And then start throttling. They've got 1 card left in their hand. And they have a morph face down that I don't know about just yet. I have black. Do I need double black? I have double green. And I have double blue. Double black wouldn't hurt. I do have a black activated ability in play. 2 of them, actually. Okay. The Astodon, there it is. I think I just want to throttle the Mantis right now, and because if they use a pump spell to save it, I don't want to also take that damage in combat. And we are currently stable. Don't know what this morph is. They have 1 card in hand to my handful of removal and 3 face down morphs ready to do stuff. And I can drop the big Astodon. Uh-oh. Oh, they changed their mind. The cards were in the red zone, and then they bailed and decided to charge their ancestor instead. Okay, Woolly Bully. I can play this face down and leave up a Parapet Drain, or I could just play Big Ass. Yeah, I'm just going to play the Big Ass. They're giving their Hateblade Death Touch until end of turn. That is some annoying little damage. I'm not going to give them that damage. I'm not going to give them that raid. I have a bounce available. Yeah, I'm going to trade with my Death Touch creature. I'll show you the throttle to deal the 2 damage. I think this is worth the information. I did just spend 3 mana to trade with a 1-drop, but that's okay. Big picture. We're thinking big picture here. If I hold up the throttle, then I'm also holding up my morphs. And, okay. I am just going to pass. They've seen the throttle now. They have to play around that, but I can also flip either of my morphs if they don't play into my throttle. And this 5/5 is really big if they do something like outlast their disowned ancestor. I'm going to get my 5/5 in. And now I have an answer to their morph. Let's take a look at that. What was that? Didn't flip in response. It was a Ruthless Ripper, and they must not have a black card in their hand. That's what they just told me. And I can add another morph or represent my Aven. I think I want another morph. Because the Astodon is just holding the board here. They would need some big spell all of a sudden that they didn't have last turn for me to suddenly care about that. And now that they left back their ancestor, I can burn it. All million mana they sunk into doing that is now gone. And I have a flying attacker. Okay, we're starting to turn it here. Archer's Parapet, once again, a lethal threat. Approaching lethal. A real thing on the board. Activate this. You go to 5. And they know about Throttle. I have a trample creature in play. They don't know that this is also a trample creature. I'm going to attack with these 3 creatures. The unblockable one and the 2 5/5s. My monster. It got smote. And flip this up for lethal. Nice. They didn't have another trick and they didn't want to block my morph. Cool. Game 3. I don't think my deck changes. An Embodiment of Spring is a nice blocker early and helps me hit the land drops later. It's a bad draw if I've hit like a normal distribution of lands, though. I don't know. 0-3 is not really where I want to be. I am splashing red and don't have this Bring Low in my deck. Is that just supposed to be there anyway? Yeah, maybe the Bring Low is better than the Throttle. This is also an instant. Is it better than this Pearl-like Ancient that I haven't cut yet? In Pearl-like Ancient is hard to kill, and it's also a combat trick, but it's a 7 mana combat trick. And it doesn't do anything earlier. At least my other top end can be morph creatures in the meantime. Yeah, I think I am going to make that change. Alright, continue getting low against this deck. I'm missing green. I'm also missing the ability to do anything early. Sultai Charm is solid. My opponent has taken a mulligan. I have a morph. I have my splash color. I am going to keep this. I have faith in the deck to produce a green source. I kept on 2 lands last time. That was a great draw. It's not the green source, but it is a way to interact early. If they just play some idiot here, yeah, cool. I am just going to debilitate this creature right now, because I would like to spend my mana doing morphs and stuff in the future turns. A flying creature. That's not fair. Morph of my own, the race is on. Ugh, more flying. Hate that. Still not green mana, but I am pretty happy to find land number 5 here. That means I can throttle the Mantis. They are getting in pretty good, though. They did not play a card on their turn. What does that mean? I mean, my creatures can't block anyway. I'm going to attack and see if they have a combat trick. Like, if they have an untap your creature, kill an attacker kind of thing, go ahead, kill them, and then I will throttle the Mantis. Now, do I want to throttle the Mantis? Yeah, I'm just going to do it now. Once again, if they pump its power to save it, or pump its toughness to save it, I don't want that damage coming my way on their turn. All right, it just died. That's great. Okay, something, they do have an effect, because there was a pause on Arena in my end step. They had something, but it was something that didn't save the Mantis. Nice. I can play Winter Flame and Embodiment. I mean, I can't activate Embodiment without green. Just funny that the color I need to fix into is the base color. They're throttling my Woolly Bully. All right. I'm just gonna kill their bird right now before they can use a trick to save it. All right, we survived the flying curve out onslaught from the early turns. I still can't flip any of my things. I can get Big Astodon into play. I have a lot of butts right now. If they play another flyer and I don't quickly draw a green source, I could be in trouble. Can't currently upgrade any of these creatures, but I'm doing stuff. All right, Mardu Charm dealing 4 to my face down Snowhorn Rider. Just in time, too, because there's the green. I'm just going to face up this thing. I got 6 mana. This is what we do. Smite the monstrance, that's fine. I am still ahead. I still have a card selection or removal spell in my hand. Now I have another removal spell in my hand. We're starting to do it here, team. I don't think I even popped this embodiment. I think I'd rather have an 0-3 blocker. Yeah, look at this fucking Valley Dasher just showing up. Clown. Block. Block. Alright, the Mardu Skull Hunter. This does make me discard a card. I guess that means I should loot in response, draw 2, discard 1. Alright, cool. I get to keep my throttles here. Discard the Cliffs. Disowned Ancestor. Happy to put that into play. And I can still cast Throttle. And here's what I was saying in deck build about Valley Dasher. I'm just not going to attack with my Rhino. Or my... whatever this is. Whatever Pachyderm this is. My Elephant. They have to ram Valley Dasher into it. Block, eat. Completely for free. That dealt 0 damage, enabled raid 1 time, then died. That's that thing's legacy on the earth. Gas up my Ancestor. Back with Mastodon. And play Death Dealer. This might be a trick. It might be a raid. This Embodiment of Spring is basically free money to put in front of it, though. Like, I don't need the land. I don't really care if it dies. And now that trick is out of their hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can put them to 1 right now. Or they can concede and without me having to think about it. Cool. I'll collect my rewards for that win. And 2 wins on the board. 2 more to go. Let's get this. I'm on the draw in round 3. I have my Teamer mana set up. No black. And 3 black cards, including the Disowned Ancestor. This hand is pretty good with any third land because of Ruthless Ripper. I am going to keep this. Oh wait, they chose the draw. Interesting. I mean, that might be the right thing to do. There are slow sealed formats where that's reasonable, but I don't know if we're in one right now. I do have Mindswipe available starting turn 2. Opponents on the level, they know about Archer's Parapet. Hopefully my Death Touch creature can just light it up. Arena kind of bleeding that you have Ruthless Ripper when you have it, because it gives you priority and doesn't auto-pass the turn. You've got a face-down card. Go to my turn. Attack. Please block with Parapet. Hell yeah, free money. Turn face up, revealing Disowned Ancestor. Bang. Wow, that was a great exchange. And I'm going to play the Snowhorn Rider because I'm pretty close to flipping this one. My next untapped land gets a 5/5 going. My opponent appears to be Naya, not a supported wedge. Okay, here we go. They are 4 color, which is supported. All on basics, though. But they seem to have made it work. They pass without a play. I'm just going to attack with my Death Touch creature. If they want to trade a Morph for it, that's fine. And if they want to play Draw Go against my Mindswipe, I think that's also fine. I'm actually just going to end the turn here. If I didn't have Mindswipe, I would play something, but I'm currently ahead on this board. And if I draw land 5, I get to start really doing stuff. Okay. I'll save my creature and deal 2 to my opponent. I mean, they took a turn off to hold that up. I took a turn to counter it. Now I'm tapped out on their turn. I don't know. Like, I think that was a reasonable exchange. I'd love to find a black source, like, pretty quick, but all right, I'm not blocking. I'm pushing damage right now. That's the first damage they've dealt in the game. I'm one untapped land away from just getting a town with a 5/5. Ooh, not only did I draw a land, it was the swamp. Watch out, everyone. I think I'm actually not going to flip this, because if they have, something like Kill Shot, I can save 5 mana here. Yes, they did, in fact, have Kill Shot. And now I get to add to my board instead of not doing that. Hold back the Disowned Ancestor. I'd rather have all these more expensive things in play. They found land number 5. If this is a Morph Donkey, they can flip it soon, or now. They're representing Jeskai and Temur among supported wedges. Let's face up Sagu Archer. Okay. Oh, I could just face up unblockable creature. Or I could play this face down, activate Parapet for a turn, flip it for 3 next turn. It costs 1 more total mana to do that. But I think having the steady drain here, or no, having the Ancestor in play is better than the steady drain, easily, unless they Wrath me. So yeah, morphing that and getting Ancestor down are worth doing. And Dune Blast and End Hostilities are the Wraths. They would need another white for End Hostilities, and I don't see any evidence of black for Doom Blast. Arc Lightning, that's really good. Killed my Mystic of the Hidden Ways, who would have died to that anyway, but just for more mana. Another black source. I can flip Big Elephant next turn, and I'd rather get some Outlast on my Ancestor than drain them for 1 life this turn. Let's make this a relevant combat object. Okay, I'm not going to block this. Too much can go wrong. I don't want to lose my Parapet, and I can hold up Throttle on it next turn. Oh, Jeskai Ascendancy. Opponent's a gamer. Okay, I can kill the Morph and tap the Sagu Archer. That seems worth doing. And I do want to do this now. Tap into... Yeah, they seemed comfortable with that attack last turn. I'm going to outlast this and attack with my Morph. Oh, if they play a spell, they can untap their creatures, though. Alright, I'll take that risk. Okay, got away with it. The Ascendancy is kind of tough, because if any instant counters Throttle now on Sagu Archer, Herald of Anafenza plus Jeskai Ascendancy is sick. Whenever you outlast this, you get a 1/1. And if you outlast it, cast a spell, go again. That's pretty dope. For them, not for me. Sucks for me. I'm going to attack with my Morph and see if they want to fuck around and find out versus a 6/7. Seems that they do. Whammo. They're currently tapped out of white, which is the kill shot color. Burn away, deal 6. Okay, so this will end up being a trade, which is still fine. Alright, cool. That burnt away, and they did get an Ascendancy trigger, got some card selection, where they discarded Ponyback Brigade. The card in their hand is better than Ponyback Brigade. That's terrifying. Imagine putting 4 creatures into play when you have Jeskai Ascendancy. What are they doing over there? Okay, I'm going to try to throttle the Herald right now. Okay, cool. Got away with it. Attack with my Ancestor. Okay, what is this card that you had that's better than Ponyback Brigade with Jeskai Ascendancy in play? They have Warden of the Eye that can regrow a non-creature non-land from the graveyard. And Burn Away's in there. Arc Lightning, Kill Shot, Winter Flame are all in there. They went with Burn Away. 6 damage to target creature. Guess what? This is a 7 toughness creature. The Rakshasa is interesting because they could just burn away my Parapet and attack me for 4. Or I could play the Rakshasa, and I don't have double green, double black to protect it next turn anyway. Yeah, so maybe I just run this out there and say, like, go ahead, kill this, leave me with my 0/5, and then Pearl Ancient. I just hit the last land to be able to cast. They are burning off my Rakshasa. This pumps their squad. They get to loot. The burn away is pretty sick, though, because I do have Treasure Cruise in my deck, and I just drew it. I am not going to attack or do anything. It's Pearl Ancient time. Yeah, the flavor text of Burn Away is when this creature dies this turn, exile its controller's graveyard. Scaldkin sacks to deal 2 to any target. That does not affect me in any meaningful way. But guess what? Pearl Ancient affects this board significantly. Mythic Rare. Set Adrift, okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Set Adrift. I can set the Scaldkin Adrift. They could ping something in response.
just trying to plan for a universe where they triple block and have a spell. Am I okay losing my Pearl Lake Ancient in that world? I don't really want to set adrift Warden of the Eye. That just gives them their spells back. I can set adrift the Scaldkin because I don't care. Like, if they use it in response, set adrift fizzles, but whatever. And then I know I have good attacks. I also actively want them to draw this irrelevant card again, so I don't want to target the, oh shit, cancel. No, go to combat. Do not bounce this thing. Yeah, so I'm attacking with these. I actively want them to draw this irrelevant card again, rather than targeting the token, which would be gone forever. But I want them to draw Scaldkin. Oof, that was a really good kill shot. I will pick up my lands to save this. And they draw Scaldkin and loot away something else. It was Mardu Warshrieker. Okay, those just bounce off each other in combat. Then I replay my land and pass the turn. Yeah, like things can't go that poorly when you have Pearl Lake Ancient. Scaldkin's back. They can attack into the parapet with Warden here because of the Scaldkin. No blocks. I'm at 17. Not worried about it. And once again, Archer's Parapet. Pew pew. There's one card in my graveyard because that's how Burn Away gets you. I'm going to play Sidisi's Pet as a morph. And just pass the turn. We're back to Archer's Parapet being the win con. They know I can Pearl Lake Ancient next turn. I see them interacting with their graveyard on Arena. I wonder if they have a Delve spell. Like if they have Treasure Cruise in their Just Guy Ascendancy deck. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Send it. That's powerful shit. Arena once again bleeding information. I mean, let's see if I can get combo killed this turn. I'd be impressed. But if they have like a Threaten here and can take my Disowned Ancestor and then also buff their squad again. Jeskai Banner. Okay. I mean, that is a buff. It is card selection, but it doesn't impact the board other than the buff it provides. Looted away. It's 2 lands, so they're getting full value off this Ascendancy. I'm going to block with my Drowned Disowned Ancestor. They didn't attack with the Warrior, which makes me think they don't have 2 tricks. They might have 1, but I don't think they have 2. Or else that would have just been sent in as well. Okay, Scaldkin to finish off the Ancestor. That's cool. That's fine. I was more worried about their flyer than I was about my 3/7. I'm about to play a 6/7. I'm also more interested in having lifelink right now than dealing 1 damage to them. Sidisi's Pet, get in. Give me that precious life point, and now I'm back up to 7 for Pearl Lake Ancient. Wooly locks it on. That's a big O. Bigger than Pearl Lake Ancient. And their last card in hand was a Morph. Ancient, get in. Go to my turn. And I think it's time for me to take a Treasure Cruise. I'm going to leave Nomad Outpost untapped, because that's the one that's more likely to cast this Death Dealer in my hand off of a land drop. Drew a tap land anyway, ended up not mattering. Okay, these make the same mana. 7/8, currently larger than 6/7, if they want to goof around about it. I think this is better on defense. And I'd rather gain a life than have access to white mana right now. I am ahead on cards and on the board. I just need to not die. And I think leaving back the 6/7 is the way to do that. They're popping their Jeskai Banner, cashing that in. Tap land. And we go to my turn. Cool. Second Parapet actually kills them really quick. I could Bitter Revelation. What do I have? 13 cards left. I would have 9 cards left. I don't want a deck, but I also do like filling my hand with gas. I could also just play this Death Dealer and Parapet. Death Dealer, I don't have access to green-black right now. I do if I play this Forest, so I guess I will Bitter Revelation. Nomad Outpost makes black, that's green. Okay, yes. I will put Debilitating Injury into my hand, and do I want the tap land or the raw green source? I think I'd rather have the raw untapped green source than the extra life. I could injure their Morph before it turns face up. I think having Regenerate is better. At least I hope that's true. They do have a 6/7 on the board. Bear Companion. Okay. That's another large creature in play. End of turn. Pew pew. Throttle. Okay.
Debilitating injury, target the morph. I get a prowess trigger off this. They have plenty of mana. I expect whatever this is going to turn up. Oh wow, it didn't. Would it have just died anyway? Okay, alright, sure. That's the reason not to turn it up. Then backup parapet. This throttle could lead to a giant combat blowout. What if they put their whole squad in front of my Pearl Lake Ancient? I'm going to attack. I am worried about them going wide on me versus while they have Jeskai Ascendancy. Just each of these creatures could be 2 or 3 points bigger than it looks by the time it matters. Okay, I'm going to put the bear in front just in case they have a trick. I want to make sure I've killed something. All right, looks like I'm just killing everything. All right, yeah, they've had enough. Cool. Okay, so they are sort of a ponderous mid-range deck like I am. They even chose to take the draw this game, which I'm not sure if is correct, but it's certainly, they are thinking about stuff. Having the burn away, I would normally board in the second Treasure Cruise versus a deck like this, but if they're able to burn me away, that might be risky. Sultai Charm can already destroy their Jeskai Ascendancy. I don't need more special answers to that. I believe this is the match we saw Arc Trail in, so that X2 for 5 is going to go out. And do I want Rotting Mastodon to stat up or Throttle to interact? I think I like the Mastodon, and I love a big fat booty. And I'm going to fire it like this. I didn't see anything so scary that I want my second counterspell in. They chose to play this time. This hand has Archer's Parapet, and then I can morph the Ice Feather Haven on the first land. Yeah, I'll keep this. I mean, I'm a 4-color deck. It just kept a hand with 2 basic forests in it, but I think having the extra card is enough. Enough of a reason to keep it. I did draw land 3. Unfortunately, it's another forest. The Parapet is good at wasting everybody's time. It's mono green over here. I'm now starting to get worried. We're 3 draw steps in. My first blue source gets me the unsummon. My first black source gets me the rest of my hand. I'm going to block. If they have it, they have it. Oof. That fucking guy. I probably should have identified that fucking guy. Yeah, now I'm glad we're playing best out of 3, because I've drawn 4 cards since I saw my opening hand, and whatever. I'm going to take 5 from this because I'm holding a squeaky clean answer to it in my hand. I don't want to trade a high value creature for it. And now they have a token, and alright. Okay. We can stop. Okay, so they have the 5-2 thing that I did see in game 1. Just have to remember to think about it when I'm blocking. If I just block with my Morph that game, we are stable for a very long time instead of my 0-5. That was loosey-goosey. I could have the Bring Low. It's like I discover the cards on my sideboard for the first time every time. Bring Low is not a combat trick. It is a removal spell where Throttle is kind of both. And they have creatures that are big enough that Bring Low won't kill them, but large enough that Throttle will affect combat. They also have at least one 5-power X2 that has shown up both games. I think I'm going out on Rotting Mastodon, but that is really good against 5-power X2s. You're just worried about so little when you block with a Rotting Mastodon. Alright, never mind. Rotting Mastodon's back in. Actually, I'm back out on Bring Low. I think I had it where I want it last time. I just need to be able to cast my spells. Do I want to take the draw? It's been planted in my brain. I've been draw-pilled. I am going to play first, even though I'm not sure if it's correct anymore. Ding, 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 ding. All my colors. Keep. I will lead on the outpost. It's not important to ramp quickly with Embodiment of Spring. I could curve out of this, but this thing's going to enter tapped at some point anyway. Now I can play the Embodiment. And I can even just chill it and play for a while, play my Morph or whatever. If they play a creature I want to block, I can do that. If I play Sidisi's Pet, I can flip it and activate Embodiment on the same turn. Just multiple 2-mana onboard effects. A face-down card. Yikes. No attacks, end the turn. My hand is Astodon, Loxodon, Pearl-like Ancient, Death Touch creature. I'm on the just make sure I don't die strategy at the moment. I'm going to block with the Embodiment of Spring. If they want to flip their 5-2 up, I'll just tutor a land. No harm, no foul. Okay, damage. If this is Arc Trail, that's annoying. Oh no, that doesn't actually matter at all. Okay, activate the ability. I do want the land here. I have double black. I only have 1 blue. I'd like double green, I think.
And the Pearl Link Ancient is double blue. No, I do want blue. Alright, yeah, I'll grab this. And I'll turn this face up too. I think I'd rather have the lifelink around than the surprise. Dragon Scale Boon, okay, they get a big untapped thing. Play my land. Play my morph creature face down. Whoa. No attacks. End the turn. Arena button's too sticky for me. Hopefully we get a nice trade off our Death Touch idiot here. Herald. Attack for 4. Do it. They have seen the Ripper. Block. Drain ya, get a trade. Hopefully this was something good under there. Ooh, it was a Woolly Bully. Yeah, glad to see that go. Archer's Parapet plus Morph the Loxodon. Probably could have gained a life for free by attacking with Sidisi's Pet there. This is actually a troublesome thing if I don't answer it quickly. Alright, I'm going to attack with the Pet and the Morph. We've seen Killshot in their deck, but I would like to start pressuring, at least keep these dorks under control a little bit. Okay, if they just block like this, I'm ready for damage. That's fine. Alright, I'll drop my big elephant. You don't have to flip your morph just because you have the mana to do it. Sometimes it's better to just take your good exchange. I dealt 2 to them, I gained 1, and I got to add to my board. Also, pretty happy with my decision early on to tutor Island instead of anything else with the Embodiment of Spring, because I have double blue for Pearl Lake Ancient this turn, and I just drew my second blue source otherwise, and it would ETB tapped. All this stuff matters. Right, I'm sending the whole squad in here, because the Herald of Anafenza does a great job of checking Pearl Lake Ancient. Okay, they are quad blocking Sidisi's Pet. I think that's fine, and I'm not going to do anything else either. I'm not going to flip the elephant. Now I gotta hope they make a big attack into my Archer's Parapet. You gonna keep playing around my Mythic Rare? You probably should, but I do actually have it. My turn. Alright, I'm gonna send the buddy. Pushing damage is how I'm gonna get this game won, if it happens. Throttle I like. This is the last turn I can throttle this Herald of Anafenza, but I think pushing the damage is also worth continuing to do. Like, Killshot isn't a good answer here. They did block with their morph. Do I just take the trade and kill this Herald, or no? I'm gonna turn face up. They did have the kill shot. Okay, disappointing. And now this Herald's gonna be too big for a while. But I am pushing damage. I have the biggest creature on the board temporarily. I have removal for Herald of Anafenza in my deck, and I have Archer's Parapet once again being a relevant game object. And to turn Draina. Drawing Forest, not super helpful here. I will continue my pummeling elephant and worm related activities. And I have managed to work through their 1/1s. They're going to have to start putting real creatures in front of me soon. Maybe I'm not supposed to drop out that land. I played the Forest because I figured I play Treasure Cruise. Maybe I would need the extra mana, but I also play Sultai Charm. But I would just kill Herald with that, so I don't need to worry about looting. Okay, never mind. They made another 1/1. They have so many cards in hand. They just haven't done anything with cards lately because they've been using their mana with Herald. And that's scary in its own way. I think I am going to throttle the Morph now and just try to sprint for the end game here. Shit. Got blown out. Drain you. Yeah, now that thing is bigger than my creatures. That was... I got antsy for no reason. That was bad. I will play out my tap land. I have a pseudo fireball in my deck. If I draw the Mind Swipe, in me having a much higher life total than them is a huge deal right now. And if nothing else happens this game, the Archer's Parapet will win it. Drain you. Come on, deck. You're killing me. Okay. I think I should continue eating creatures where I can eat creatures here. 1, 2, 3. I'm actually at the spot. I can pick up Pearl Lake Ancient and flash it back in all during combat. I have so many lands. Yeah, I'm glad I played those lands out now. And that is a line that's available to me. The old untap your creature at the expense of bouncing 3 lands and 7 mana. Continuing to outlast. Ironically, they are not outlasting me because I have archers and you just have 1/1s. Those 5 cards in hands are slightly concerning though. Scaldkin, okay, that's a creature that can attack. Drain you. A spell! Oh my goodness. Okay, I am going to throttle the morph that they were protecting.
Before, it was Sagu Archer, and now I can attack with my Elephant for a turn. Yeah, just eating their morph here. Their life total's so low that even though the Herald of Anafenza is doing stuff, I am still causing problems for them. So this thing has crept up to 8-9 while we're hanging out here. My graveyard is stocked if I draw a Treasure Cruise. Jeskai Banner. Can't imagine caring about that. Warden of the Eye. That one's a little concerning. This game's gone on a long time. I don't even know what's in their graveyard, but they're going to get something cool. Oh, Feat of Resistance and Kill Shot. That's all you got? Cool. Yeah, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Okay, they have decided to attack for 8. It's time. Not going to block. That's my win con. Drain you. My turn. Disowned Ancestor. Not exactly thrilling. They have to block Purrloin action. If Rotting Mastodon attacks, it could just bounce off Warden of the Eye. But at least it denies abilities or options to... Okay. Now they have to lose their Scaldkin this combat, basically. Is the spot I put them in there. And I do have the mana up to pick up and put down Purrloin action if I need a surprise bonus blocker. I am slightly worried about taking 8 another time here. I can block with my Disowned Ancestor. That card is not helping me right now. The best thing that can do is gain 8 life. I'm not going to be spending time outlasting that at this point. Mardu Warshrieker, this makes mana because they attacked. Bear Companion, that's a nice one. Can I get a Treasure Cruise, a Set Adrift, a removal spell of some kind? Oh, Death Dealer is pretty good. That's just huge. And a hyper-relevant combat object. They're double blocking, triple blocking. Okay, maybe it's time to chill on that. Okay, fine. I will pick this up. And unfortunately, I didn't re-combat the Death Dealer. Oh, this has flash, it doesn't matter. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need a lot more green than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I can pick this up, bouncing gain lands. Resolve this ability. Flash this back in. Yeah, I should have just not done that. They have outstatted me. I gain some life here, and then I can play Death Dealer, who can be regenerated. Yeah, if I just don't attack with Purrloin Ancient, then I get to Parapet this turn and have just a giant Death Dealer. And now my Death Dealer is smaller, and I don't get to Parapet this turn. Just hurling value everywhere. Morph. Yeah, if I lose this game, that was the moment it just happened. Ace Feather Raven, disappointing. Okay, that bounces my Death Dealer. That's fine, actually. I was most worried about them bouncing Purrloin Ancient or Rotting Mastodon. I think now I do just take the 8. They have a flyer, so they can... Feat of Resistance is just protection, right? Yeah, they can make this unblockable, pseudo-unblockable, but I have creatures across the color spectrum here. Yeah, I'll just take 8. If they have Teamer Battle Rage, that would be bad for me. But because they bounced my Death Dealer, I get to Parapet this turn, which might actually be more important. Thornwood Falls. Gain some life. Death Dealer. And if I play my other Death Dealer, I can activate one of them once. Yeah, I have one instance of green-black available. Them gaining that life is actually like Time Walk on this board, as fucked up as that is. I have my own Ice Feather Aven in the deck. I have removal. I have Treasure Cruise. Like, come on, deck. Don't do me dirty. Okay, they just attacked with the Flyer, held back the Herald, which means I can drain them again with Parapet. Dumping out a Griffle of Morphs. Yeah, they're in a position where they can start doing some stuff. Can I have a spell? Nope, absolutely not. I'm really worried about this Flyer that they have. They seem to be targeting my stuff. Oh, they hit the drain, or the Graveyard Killer. That's so bad. That makes Treasure Cruise not a 1-drop anymore. That sucks really hard for me. Now I'm behind, and my best draw in my deck got a lot worse. And they're starting to outlast again. There is no reach or flying on my board. Oh no, I continue to draw lands. I don't really have attacks. I mean, I guess they're in the Abyss, but the Rakshasa, or the Herald,
Yeah, I think I'm losing now. Just a couple too many land draws throughout the middle of that game. Now they have these two morphs, and they're just making a giant YOLO attack. Block the morph. Block the morph. Yeah, I think I'm just dead here no matter what I do. Block and block a bear. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. Damn. Master of Pearls. Okay, yeah. Yep, drew a few too many lands. I could have boarded in a second Treasure Cruise and I didn't. And I think Treasure Cruise just wins that game at any point up to that last turn. Just get a little more ahead, get a little more damage through my flyer, my removal spell, my bird resetting this Herald, my Sultai Charm killing the Herald. I mean, they've regrown the Fate of Resistance since then. I'll collect my rewards, and then 3,000 gems. Only 4,000 left. That's not enough to refire, and I'm not putting any actual money into this endeavor. I will not be day 2ing this Arena Open. It was fun to play Khans Limited again. Best of 3 is definitely more my style. The best of 1, I think that was just a huge spew. I wish I hadn't even done that. That was like 5,000 gems wasted. Was being on the draw against busted rares twice out of my 3 games. It's like, okay, that's why we play 3 normally, but I did not give myself the option to do that. Wish I'd played best of 3. This was a lot more satisfying the second outing, and we came a little short in that second game, but opponent played well. I made some decisions that weren't great, like that attack with Pearl Lake Ancient just wasted a bunch of resources for no reason, but that's okay. Arena Open is over for me. Thank you all for watching. I don't plan on making arena content a common occurrence on my channel, but if I'm going to be like doing something anyway, I might as well have the mic on. That's basically how my life works these days. And I was definitely going to do this anyway. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, check out my normal Legacy and Modern content if you're here just for arena stuff, and I'll see you next time.